So how in the world does an AI sift through thousands of companies and pinpoint one that's about to jump over 100%? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this actually happened, and it's the real-life story we're breaking down today. We're going to look at how a system called TriFusion AI flagged a little-known biotech stock right before it went on an absolutely incredible run. And let's get one thing straight right from the top. The AI's own analysis report said this with total confidence. What we're about to unpack wasn't some lucky guess, and it wasn't a reaction to some breaking news. No. This was a calculated forecast, built by fusing together dozens of signals that pretty much the entire rest of the market had missed. And boom, this was the result, a 112% gain from the moment the AI flagged the opportunity. That's a massive move, and it basically proved the whole analytical process worked. Now, the number is flashy, for sure, but the real story here is how the AI got there. Which, brings us to the big question we're all thinking. How is this even possible? I mean, how could a machine take in technical charts, financial reports, and even all this hidden institutional trading data, and then put it all together to make such a confident call? Well, let's dig in.
All right, so to really get this, we've got to start with the company itself, the subject of this whole story, a biotech firm called MindMed. So if you look at their official paperwork, their SEC filings, MindMed is a serious player in a very serious field. We're talking about a clinical stage company working on brand new treatments for brain health disorders. This is not some little startup in a garage, okay? This is a legit, publicly traded company on the NASDAQ.
And check this out. They have a real plan, a roadmap. This timeline lays out their upcoming clinical trial milestones. You can see they're expecting some huge data readouts from their phase 3 trials coming up in 2026. So this isn't just wishful thinking. This is a company that's actually doing the work, following a real long-term plan.
So what are they working on? Their main program is something called MM120, which is a form of lysergide. And they're targeting some really big conditions, like generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. But here's the kicker, and this is super important. Their financials are solid. They've got a strong balance sheet with enough cash to keep the lights on and the research going well into 2027. And trust me, that financial stability, that was a huge piece of the puzzle for the AI.
Okay, so that's the company. Now let's talk about the predictor, the other side of this equation, the one that actually made the call. An advanced AI system called TriFusion. And this is so cool. This is actually how it works. It's not some mysterious black box just spitting out answers. This is a real quote from a chat between a human analyst, a guy named John, and the AI itself. It just perfectly shows this partnership, right? You've got human curiosity leading the way, and the AI's incredible brain power doing all the heavy lifting.
Okay, so the big question. How did TriFusion pull this off? Well, the secret is the systematic method it has, something it calls the Hidden Gems Playbook. And the name says it all, right? It's literally designed to go find valuable stuff that everybody else has overlooked.
Think of it like a giant filter or a funnel. It starts wide. First, it looks at the big macro themes, what's happening in the world. Then it narrows down, scanning the charts of thousands of stocks for specific patterns. After that, it gets even more focused, doing a deep dive on financial health. And for the final step, it hunts for clues, signs that big institutions are getting interested. It takes this huge universe of stocks and boils it all down to just a few really, really good ideas. So one of the very first things the AI spotted on MindMed's chart was this thing called a volatility crush. The best way to picture it is like a coiled spring. The stock's price was just getting squeezed tighter and tighter and tighter, building up all this potential energy. The AI saw that and went, aha, that's a classic setup for a huge breakout.
All right, next up, the AI started playing detective. It was looking for signs that the big fish, the professional investors, were getting interested. And it found something huge, a 43% spike in what's called dark pool activity. Basically, these are giant private trades that happen off the public stock market, kind of behind the scenes. And a spike like that, that's a huge tell that the smart money is loading up on shares before everyone else finds out.
Now this is where it gets really brilliant. The AI found a huge disconnect. On one hand, you had the general public, social media, whatever, barely a peep about MNMD. But on the other hand, the AI's language processor was scanning all these professional reports and analyst calls, and it was picking up an increasingly positive tone. See the difference? The experts were getting excited while the public was completely ignoring it. That is the absolute textbook definition of a hidden gem. But look, all those fancy signals are just one part of the equation. It's not enough. So the AI did the responsible thing. It checked the homework. It ran MindMed through this super tough financial scorecard. And guess what? All green lights. A long cash runway? Check. Zero long-term debt? Check. A smart controlled spending rate? Check. This wasn't just some wild speculative bet. This was a fundamentally solid company. Okay, so let's put it all together. This is the magic moment. The really crucial thing to understand is how all these totally different pieces of information, the chart pattern, the secret institutional buying, the split between what pros and the public were saying, and the rock-solid financials, they all started pointing to the exact same conclusion. So here's the final checklist. On April 28th, TriFusion made the call. MNMD gets added to the list. Why? It fit the big picture theme. The chart was coiled and ready to spring. There was clear proof that big money was buying in secret, and the company was financially strong enough to see it through. It was just a perfect setup. All systems go.
And then we see what happens. From that selection point, around $6 a share, the stock started to move. It didn't take long. By the middle of May, it was already up 35%, and it just kept going, all the way to a 112% gain. Just an incredible validation of the AI's entire process from start to finish.
But the takeaway here is bigger than just one winning stock trade. It's not just about an algorithm. It's really about a whole new way of working. This incredible fusion of human smarts and AI power. The system itself has a name for this. It calls it a synthetic cognition trade. I love that term. It's basically saying this idea was born from two things working together: the AI superpower, which is analyzing insane amounts of data, and the human superpower, which is that subtle gut feeling and pattern recognition from the analysts John and Bob.
And this final quote from one of those chats with the AI just nails the whole philosophy. It's not about chasing the latest hot trend or just following what everyone else is doing. Nope. It's about using this amazing technology to rediscover real value, right before the rest of the world even remembers it exists.
So that kind of leaves us with this one big, fascinating question, right? In this case, the AI was looking at charts, financials, and trading data, but what happens when this tech gets even smarter? What happens when it starts to understand the nuance, the fine print of every single report, every filing, every conference call transcript out there? I mean, the possibilities are just staggering to think about.